Thanks for the support as a channel member, Comrift. 2 big things are going to happen in today's transfer special. Big thing number 1, we find out whether we're going to be playing in the National League North or South. My money's on North, but we have been playing in a Southern League, so we could end up in... Who knows? Let us know down in the comments whether you think it's going to be North or South, but the bigger of the big things is, fingers crossed, we should now be able to offer proper part-time contracts. That means we'll stop losing players halfway through the season. Hello and welcome to part 29 of the Bourne Legacy. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our season review and transfer special as we move up into Tier 6, and we're kicking things off straight away with the season review. And this is our new overall best 11, so we get to check in with some familiar faces. In fact, there's a lot of this year's team have made it into this best 11, which is very nice. Roberts in goal, obviously still with us, as is Kiezu and Wiggett. Bellawain, though, let's see what he's up to. He's still playing for Stockport, where, I mean, he's just had a good season in the National League North. We're moving back up to his level now. Might be able to bring him back. Clark at right back, even though he never played right back for us, he was always a right winger. He's playing for Brackley in the National League, so probably a little bit beyond us bringing him back. Lee is obviously still here. Smith went to Doncaster earlier on this season and has played a full season for them in League One, so we ain't getting him back anytime soon. Morris out on the left wing, that's a name I haven't seen for a while, now playing a lower level than we are, and I think we're probably better than he is now. I don't think there's much chance of him coming back. Hector Ingram on the right-hand side, playing for Yeovil, but not very much. There's the possibility of maybe getting someone like that back on loan, maybe. Connor Carty, unbelievably, still only 20 years old and not really playing for Cork, and probably worth a scout to see if we can maybe bring him back. And then Luke Plange, who, of course, went to the Championship, where he played once just after he left us and is now nowhere near their team. So again, he's the sort of player where it's worth looking to see if we can maybe bring him back on loan. Some more familiar faces on the bench: Winterton, Boardman, Shuka, Garcia, Day, McClelland, McKendy. Lots of faces from the story so far, and this is our awards for this season. So Player of the Year goes to Graham Dodds, 47% of the vote. I think he did finish our top scorer, we'll find out in a second, but 27 goals from 41 appearances. It's not the crazy goal per game stuff we've seen from strikers in the past, but a very solid goal return, and I don't think he gets the recognition he maybe deserves as a player who's scored that many goals. He never became one of my heroes, certainly, although he might be getting there now if we can get him tied down to a proper contract that can keep him with us for a few years. McGuinness got runner-up and Kiezu third. Goal of the season goes to McGuinness. So we'll have a little look at this to see what the best goal we scored in the entire season was. Usually a header with McGuinness, so it'd be interesting to see what this goal actually looks like. Big goal kick forward. McGuinness brings it down nicely. That is a lovely goal. I will allow that. Dodds gets signing of the season and young player of the season at just 20 years old. Now, team of the year is Roberts, Kiezu, Wiggett, McClelland and Logan, Cundall and Wright in midfield, Longalo and Jones, with McGuinness and Dodds up front. Can't argue with that as a team of the year. Top scorer was Dodds with 29. He also got highest average rating. Most assists is split between Longalo, Kiezu and Jones with 8 each. Munting, 80% pass completion, is the best at the club. McGuinness most man of the match, Kiezu most yellow cards, and we didn't have a player sent off all season because we behave ourselves. Season review went as expected in the league. We were supposed to win it and we did. We were very disappointing in all the cup competitions though, and that's something we really need to work on for this coming season, because I suspect this is going to be the first season where we're not going to be favourites to finish top of the league. So we could be looking at a mid-table consolidation season and hopefully a cup run to go alongside it. So, okay, the board think we're going to win the league. So maybe we are going to be favourites again. Forget consolidation. So looking for us to win the league this year and then establish ourselves in the league above. I can live with that. It's not too much pressure. A 5th consecutive promotion. It really depends on the players we can bring in this summer. I don't know which channel member got this guy as a player, but he's retired. And it doesn't keep the names after they retire, which is annoying. But transfer-wise, there's not really much I can do until I know what league we're going to be in. It's only the 2nd of April. At the moment, we can't offer proper contracts because we're still a Tier 7 team. I think that will change when we become a Tier 6 team, because that's how it happened with home. Let's just double check. The danger is we lose someone like Dodds, who's wanted by Middlesbrough. We lose him before we can offer him a proper contract, which is so annoying. Finalise. Hopefully, by getting him on a new contract now, it will stop him signing for Middlesbrough in the meantime. That would have been the time to do everyone's little trick of having him sign it at the end of the season. But I refuse to do that. It feels like a glitchy game exploit, and I'm not going to do it. But I'm going to be so sad if he goes. Right, we're literally waiting now for either confirmation that we're a Tier 6 team and can do proper contracts, or the 1st of January, whichever comes, 1st of July, whichever comes sooner, and we can start to bring in some players. There's no point in making signings now because we can only sign them non-contract, and then when it comes around to us offering proper contracts, we won't be able to offer them one because they'll have just signed the non-contract thing and won't want to discuss. So I kind of have to sit on my hands for 3 months of game time now, which I guarantee I'm not going to be able to do. Cue me cutting to 8 new signings in June or something. Well, we've still not made it through to either confirmation of what league we're in or the 1st of July, but this is a big problem. Our stature in the game has dropped significantly in the last year. Those cup runs coming back to bite us. This is going to have a big impact on the quality of player that we can sign, which is going to be difficult, especially because I've spent the last however many months it's been watching our team get systematically disassembled. I realised, because I did the last episode of last season so early as well, there's some stuff you still don't know from there. Firstly, my assistant manager left me and is now managing in the National League. Kevin Ramage. The Kevins have been broken up. He's gone to Bourne Wood in the National League and got relegated, so I might be coming up against him this season, which will be fun. So I responded by taking the assistant manager off of my childhood hero Ken Charlery, who's the manager at Newark Flowserve, who are also going to be in the Conference North-South next year. I took their assistant manager, John Hayden, so he's my new assistant manager. But the story isn't really about the staff, it's about the players. And if we go all the way back to, I don't think, did you even see Cundall leave? So we lost Cundall, we lost our keeper, Miles Roberts has gone. But then it's just a who's who of who was any good for us last year, and they've all gone. Callum Wright's gone to Salford. Graham Dodds, despite us giving him the new contract, has gone to Cambridge. So he's going to be playing in the Football League next year. Shamar Moore's gone, Kiesu's gone, Jones has gone, Munting's gone, Charlie Wiggett, who'd been here for 2 years. We had a player who'd been with us for 2 years, and just before we can offer him a real contract, he's gone to play for Carlisle in League Two, and it's very, very sad. I've done my best not to bring anyone in. I signed Jonathan Flatt way back, who I think I had in non-league to legend this year with Kings Lynn, but I signed him to replace Roberts just for the last few games of last season. And there's a couple of other players who came in around then who I'm not even going to bother showing you because you're probably going to never see them play. We've signed a couple this summer. Josh Lynch is a central midfielder from Manchester United, who it turns out isn't going to be any good. And then we signed another goalkeeper, Simon Eastwood, who actually is a decent standard of player, was playing in the Championship last season. So that's I think that's a good signing. But our squad is, decimated is absolutely the word. We have McGuinness and Jarvis left as strikers. Longalo, who's on his way out, and Lee is on his way out. I wonder, we're still not showing as being in the Conference North or South. I thought we were at this point. Oh no, I started this link saying we weren't. We've still got Jordan Cousins, who is one of the ones who I brought in at the end of last year. So there you go. He's our only decent midfielder left. Jack Lee is the second best central midfielder at the club now. And again, it's sad seeing what's happened to this team, and the fact that our reputation has dropped so far means that we genuinely might not be able to bring in the former Premier League youngsters anymore. This is going to be a difficult season, I think, especially if the board, Sir Mick Powell is expecting me to just go up as champions again, because at the moment we're quickly approaching the 1st of July. We still don't know what league we're going to be in, and we haven't got any players. I'm not panicking, you're panicking. Here you go then. We finally know we are going to be in the National League North this season. And Samik Pal has chilled out a little bit. He's saying playoffs now because he's realised we've got no players, plus first round of the FA Cup. I can get on board with that. Playoffs might well be doable. If we have a look at the National League North, you'll see that Newark Flowserve and Kings Lynn in there as well. Newark Flowserve is an interesting one for me because they've charged up the leagues with us. And Ken Charlery, like I said, he was my childhood hero. He was Posh's best player throughout the 90s. And yeah, I love the fact that I'm managing the same league as him. But to have Kings Lynn knocking around at this level is awesome as well. I don't know if there's going to be anybody who we know. I mean, Chris Smith was there when we started our save. I don't think there's anyone else who's survived, which is a bit of a shame. We're not that far in the future. I guess we are like 5 years in now, aren't we? Anyone else who you wouldn't expect to be there? I think the big interesting thing is that we beat #United here. As you can see, no sign of #United in either of those. And if we actually have a little look to see where they've made it to, they are in the Bet Victor Premier Division Central. If they don't go up this year, they're in danger of never coming up because we're going to start cutting things off because we're now at the point, now we've hit the National League North, where we need to set this save up like a normal save. So we're going to set the all of the below starting leagues, they're all going to be gone by next summer. So we're going to be binning off the league we've just come up from. We've been deleting them as we've been going up to make the game run a little bit faster. But no, not add new manager. No, wrong button. Confirm these changes. No, I don't want to add a new manager. I want to add new leagues. How did I get that so wrong? Right. So now we need to add in some leagues. Now, while we're still in non-league, I think I'm just going to add in the local, not the local ones, the nearby ones. So for now, we're going to add in the Scottish League, Welsh League, Irish Leagues, that kind of thing. When we get to the Football League, what I usually do is delete a lot of this stuff and then add in the major European leagues, Brazil, Argentina, because then once we get up to the Premier League, it allows the Premier League to be a little bit more competitive, because otherwise we get up to the Premier League and the only players who are any good are the English players, and England win everything and it gets a bit rubbish. But we'll add those. So they'll all start next summer when the Bet Victor stuff disappears, and then we'll start to get towards a more normal game world. But the key thing is, can we offer some contracts? Hold on. Who can we offer? Who do we want to offer a contract to? Who are we in danger of losing? We haven't really got anybody who's so good that I don't want to lose him now. They've all gone. I guess Lee would be the one. He's under contract. Can we offer him a proper contract? Because if we can't, this is a huge problem. Finally, we can offer players real contracts. This changes everything. Now we need the 1st of July and all those Premier League youngsters to be released so we can try and get some of those. Well, despite being able to offer contracts, it doesn't mean the players are actually going to sign them. We've lost Longalo and Lee as well. Jack Lee, again, another one who'd been here 2 years. He's gone to play for Crewe in League Two. We can't argue with them leaving, but I wish some of them had stayed. We've still got Dom Tier knocking around, who all of a sudden is one of our better players again. I'm looking at McGuinness thinking, I should probably offer you a contract, but you're old. What contract? What? He's currently unhappy at the club. What? Why is he unhappy? Feels there's a lack of depth. Well, I'm working on it, Josh. For goodness sake. Right, it's the 1st of July. Free transfers. We need a big summer for this. And I really, really hope that we haven't been too adversely affected by the filter's still on there from last summer. I hope we've not been too adversely affected by the drop in reputation. I guess we're going to find out now. Right, we've got a bunch of players in on trial. Now I need to get my thinking hat on, because for the first time in quite a long time in this save, money is going to become an issue again, because a budget of £5,600 a week is fine when you're doing non-contracts and you have a revolving door. When you're trying to actually build a squad, that's not a lot of money. So we've got a bunch of trialists in, and I think what I need to do is kind of pick a first 11 from this pool of players, get them on proper contracts, and then maybe fill out to a squad of 16, 17. It's how we did things with Kings Lynn. It's how we did things early on with Bourne when money was an issue. I don't think this is the summer for me to get a squad of 22 players and have 2 players for every position. I'm thinking a squad of 16 players on permanent contracts, maybe a couple more on non-contracts, and then for the first time in ages, start looking at loans as well and see if we can plug some gaps in the squad with loans. So there are a couple of positions where we've already got some decent players who we should probably tie down. Tyler Forbes as an example at right back. He's only played for us once, but he's a Football League quality player. If we can get him to sign a contract, we probably should. But what I usually find is once a player's already here, they tend to want more money than new signings. So it might be that we almost ignore the players who are already here when it comes to proper contracts and focus in on some of the newer players that we can try to bring in. I mean, McGuinness is an example. We can't offer him a contract at the moment because he wants us to strengthen the squad first. So we kind of have to look at him last, and he runs the risk of us not having any money left when we get there. So I'm going to have a look through all these trialists who've just come in. As you can see, there are a lot. It might even be time to rethink the tactic if we're not just going to run away with this league now. Let's just have a look. What do the media think? We are second favourites behind Boston, but again, for the first time in ages, we don't have any. Oh no, we've got one player in the media Dream 11. This is uncharted territory for us. Right, first batch of players in, and it hasn't completely ruined the finances, which is good. I think I'm going to have to release a lot of the non-contract players that we end up not using just to get rid of this discrepancy so that I can bring more players into the actual contracts we're paying out for £2,300 a week, but there's another £2,000 a week in non-contract allocations for players that we're probably not going to be using. But you can see we've brought in quite a bunch of players there. I'm not going to show you every single one of them. We'll meet them as time goes on. But if we go back over to the team report, we can see who our stars are on here now. So new boy Jaden Smith, 19 years old, 3-star current ability, 4-star potential. He's a National League North level player at the moment with the potential to get better. He's formerly of Southampton. So luckily, it looks like we haven't lost the ability to bring in the Premier League youngsters. Marcus Hull is an 18-year-old who can play anywhere up the left-hand side, 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. We're paying him £300 a week, which I think makes him the highest paid player at the club, but he's probably also the best player at the club. He comes in from Chelsea. In fact, we can see who's considered our key player, still Tyler Forbes, who doesn't want to agree a new contract. It's the problem with everyone who is already here. They want far too much money. So I think I might almost have to build an entirely new team, which is going to be problematic. We've brought in this guy, George Wyatt at the back's 19 years old. He's coming from Blackburn. And there's a couple of others as well. Who, where, what, why. Words. Just lots of words. But we need more. We need to keep this thing rolling. So we're just going to keep offering everyone a trial who comes up as on a free transfer, and then I'm going to also keep a solid eye on how many players we've got in each position, so we don't get to the point where we've got just too many. Why is this not showing me the full LOLLUJO view? I need to be able to see that. So if we sort them by current ability, so for example, I can straight away see on here, now we've brought Dominic Quidgley in, who's 18 years old. He's coming from Stoke. We probably don't need Jonathan Flatt. It would be nice to offer Simon Eastwood a proper contract. I know he's 34, but if he'd sign a proper contract, and we know we've got him for the year as our first choice keeper, which again, wants so much money. But then he was playing in the Championship last year. So I guess there is an argument for on a 1-year contract for a really good goalkeeper for this level. I mean, leading player for most teams in the division above. So if we bring him in on a permanent contract, we can then let Flatt go. We don't need to be taking that contribution of his non-contract. Quigley can be our backup. Eastwood in goal. Goalkeeper pretty much sorted, and I think we need to just go through and do that in all positions, because there's going to be players who we've kind of accumulated. Ryan Lloyd is a good example of that. He's been here for like 2 years, never played. let's get rid of him. There's no point just keeping him at the club because we're paying a contribution of his non-contract. Even though we're not paying it him because he's not playing, it wrecks the budgets. Right, lots more business has gone on. We are pretty much done budget-wise, but I'm going to have to release a whole load more players. As you can see, we've brought in a whole bunch of extra players, and this is what the squad's now looking like. We are getting somewhere with some decent players in key positions. We have managed to give some proper contracts to a couple of key players. So Eastwood has got a proper contract to play in goal. Lacey, who came in towards the end of last season, has a contract to play at centre-back for us. McGuinness still won't sign. He's the big one that I want, but he wants me to strengthen the midfield. And I can't afford to strengthen the midfield anymore. But I think I'm going to have another run through the squad and just start getting rid of almost everybody who's on a non-contract at this point, because if they're not going to sign, like McGuinness, that's probably why he doesn't want to sign, because Dagenham and Redbridge want him. He's one of our better players, but I don't want our better players to be able to leave at any time. So I think I'm probably going to let him go and try and sign a replacement. I am starting to think in terms of loans now, though. So we have scouted some players that might be appropriate for loan. So if we have a look at who's available on loan lists, there we go. We've got Callum Wilkinson, who, how good is he likely to be? He's not fully scouted yet, but he could come into the squad and do a job. So we need to be focusing more in on loans. And I'm going to be asking my director of football to try and find me some loans in those key positions. Looks like all the ones he's recommended are already scouting. So we might just try and get Callum Wilkinson. So can we get you on loan for the season? For free? No. Why are we having to pay for you? I don't want to have to pay for you. Well, controversial decision made in order to get us back roughly on budget. I mean, we are still slightly over, but I've had to release everybody who was on non-contract. If McGuinness and the right back guy aren't going to sign contracts, they had to go. They were both wanted by other clubs. I can't build a squad not knowing if they're going to be here, so they're not here. We've brought in a few more players. We've now brought in an entire new squad pretty much, but it is a squad where everybody is under permanent contract. It's not the best looking squad we've ever had. I just hope it's going to be enough. I wonder what the media think of it. I'll go through it in a second for you. So the media actually think we are favourites, and we've got one player in the Dream 11, which is Marcus Hull. So we're expecting big things from him, of course. And if he delivers big things, we might be able to sell him and make some money, which would be very handy. I don't think we're going up as champions, but who knows? We're about to see. But this is our new squad. So as strikers, we basically have two options. I mean, we do have some play. This doesn't include everybody who's in the under 23s and stuff. So actually, let's do it another way. Let's have a look at our best players in each position. So in goal, we've got Eastwood and Quidgley. We already knew about that. I think we've got a very good goalkeeper there. If we then go position by position in defence, so right back wise, I need to get the right. Let's get left backs on as well. I've got to remember who plays on which side. So Agintus and Ainge are left backs. So he's one option at left back. He's the other option at left back. I feel like he's also a left. Why have I signed three left backs? Oh, why do I do these things to myself? And then at right back we've got Baker and Riley, who can also play left back as well. We've got a lot of cover for left back, and this guy can play back there as well. He's been signed to play further forward. And then at centre back, we have Lacey, who we know is good, and Price, plus Wyatt, O'Connor. So there are four really, and Maloney can play at centre back as well. So we've got good cover at the back. If we go into central midfield, Mottram, who can also play out wide, but he's primarily going to be playing at central midfield. Price, who's a centre back who can play there, but again, he's mainly going to be playing at the back. Jago Lott is another central midfielder. Callum Jones, central midfield player. And then I think Brown is central midfield as well. And then again, these are mainly youth players. And then if we go to our wingers, get both sides in. So Hull, our new best player on the left wing. Mottram, we know, is a central midfielder who can play out wide. Jaden Smith is a striker who can play on either wing. But when you see how few strikers we've got, you're going to see we're going to need to be using him on the wing. Chafer is a weird one because he can play as a winger or a holding midfield player. Just that typical two positions that players can play in. Can't play between the two, though. Whew, no, can't play as a central midfielder, but can play as a defensive midfielder or a winger. Nee is a right winger, and then Aga can play anywhere in those attacking midfield or central midfield positions or up front. A useful utility player to have around the place. And then up front, where we have to make them central players, we have Smith as probably our first choice, maybe. But then we've also got Bunmi Babajidi, who I love his name. I want him to be an absolute superstar for us. Nee again can play in there, as can Aga. And then we've got Jake Burton as well, who, I mean, they're youngsters that we've taken gambles on. I genuinely think this is going to be quite a challenging season, but who knows? I don't think this is the best squad I could have assembled. Oh, and it's only the 19th of July, but I've got no money left. Let's see if we sell anyone, which we won't, because obviously they're all only just signed. Outside of that, hopefully some decent loans that we can get for free will turn up. I know there'll be people saying, Kev, get a parent club. I don't want to get a parent club. I've made my thoughts on parent clubs very clear in the past, and I don't plan on using them now either. So we just need some freebie loans. We'll be fine. And that brings us to the end of the strangest summer I've ever had. And we ended up loaning out one of the left backs for 100% of his wages. So we do have a little bit of money to play with. £300-400 a week left in the budget. And we did our usual, putting the pre-season goals to the bonuses to the lowest amount to give us a little transfer budget, which we then put into wage budget. Because I'm a rascal and we still need players, really. We've got 22 players who are all contracted to play for us. So these 22 will be here at the end of the season when all their contracts come up, and we'll have to go through all that again. But hopefully, if we can get that playoff finish and get 5 or 6 stars emerge, that we can build a promotion team for next year around and actually start having some players who stick around, I think we'll be fine. I hope we'll be fine. We'll learn a lot in the first games of the new season in the next episode. So let's see if this is a team good enough for this division. I genuinely have no idea. It's awesome. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.